So again, I welcome everyone to today's Do Data Daily Challenge. Now we've just had a run through what we've done so far. And now we're on here, and I did give an assignment. Did we have a chance to look through what this means at all? I'm sure we're fine with data lifecycle now, and there's an explanation there as well anyway. But these ones here, did we have a look to see what is data profiling, what is data transformation, data aggregation, all these steps? We have a look at it to see what we feel about it. Did anyone get to do this or not?
I looked at data profiling briefly. I had an idea of what data transformation is, data cleansing. But I'll still look at them more in details. But I looked at data profiling, really.
Okay, thank you. And what did you find out about data profiling?
I'm still trying to understand what it means properly, but what I learned was that it gives you a better understanding of the structure, content, quality, and relationship of data so that you can clean it properly. It's like a groundwork that you do to make you clean the data properly. That's what I understand so far. I don't know if there's a better explanation.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Did anyone else have a look at it? Any of this at all? I know we should be fine with data transformation and data aggregation, but I'm sure we haven't mentioned anything around data profiling yet. So any more explanation around this? If you can check probably ChatGPT or Google, and let's see what you find out about data profiling so that we have a good knowledge of it. That would be helpful. So while someone is doing that, let's discuss very quickly. Why do we need to clean our data? Let's discuss data cleansing and what it is and why we need to do it.
My own idea of data cleaning would be if we don't clean the data, our results will be affected at the end of the day. We wouldn't be getting the proper results. Like the data may have outliers. The data may have some missing values.
Yeah.
And we'll be taking decision based on a wrong outcome.
Yeah.
If we don't clean the data before we do the analysis. So yeah, I think it's a step we do before doing the data analysis.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much. It helps to ensure the quality of our data and the quality of our result, as well as the integrity of the result or the reports that we are generating, and our own integrity as professionals as well. So data cleansing, it takes time, but the time it takes is really worth it. So it's of a very huge advantage. Please, we're going to need for the class to be quite interactive, just so that I know that we are really getting it. That would really help me. Okay.
So can I just add to the to the data cleansing bit.
Yes, please.
It might more or less be the same thing that has been said already, but what came to my mind was checking the data to eliminate incorrect facts that could lead to misleading information.
Yes, that's correct.
So probably, the data that has been duplicated.
Yeah.
And similar things like that.
Yeah, data that has been duplicated. We look at our data types to make sure that date is being seen as date.
Right.
Numbers are seen as numbers. Things around that we don't have, like you said, duplicate data is not carried forward. So we remove any duplicate record.
Right.
We look through to see if our outcome that we desire is what that data set is looking like. That if I put this through to make a chart or a bar graph or anything, has it got what I want it to display at the end of it? If not, then I need to do something about it. So it's all data cleansing, it's all data transformation, partly data aggregation as well, where applicable, and it's all data enrichment, that we do at all of that stage. All of it together, I think it's all data manipulation, really, because we are manipulating that data for an outcome that we want it to give. Okay, thank you very much for those contributions. So what it did.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I have from Google, I have something for data profiling.
Perfect. What did you get, sir?
It says data profiling is the process of examining, analyzing, and creating useful summaries of data.
Right.
The process yields a high-level overview, which aids in the discovery of data quality issues, risks, and overall trends.
Right.
Data profiling produces critical insights into data that companies can then leverage to their advantage.
Wow. Wow, it's such a very, very useful step as well, isn't it?
Yes.
It's what something we do, but we just need to realize that that's what we do. Imagine being asked at interview to explain what data profiling is, and it's what you do all the time, but it's just not clicking that that's what it is. Something like that can be very painful if you later find out that that's what you should be saying. So thank you very much for that help. Okay, so moving forward, we've got a data set that looks like this, and after all of those steps that we have talked about, we generate from something that looks like this, and we start to generate, a consumable product, which we refer to as information, because it's easily usable, easily understandable, and we can quickly make decisions, from it, or something like this. I do look forward to when we make a dashboard or a report like this. Did we find any difference between dashboard and report yet at all? That's also something we need to look at. And there's a subtle difference between the two that we need to be aware of. If we have one, please let's have a look. I do have times I miss the two up as well. I mix them up. So if I'm pushing a question on you that I'm not answering now, is because I'm also needing to go back and recheck, for the real answer. And I remember that Mr. Muiwa did ask about this difference between data analysis and data analytics during one of the classes. So I did ask ChatGPT about it yesterday. There was quite a lot of differences but I just brought out a few. So they are very similar, but the slight difference is just, it depends on the context that we are looking, through which we are looking at both of them. So it says both terms refer to the process of examining, cleaning, transforming, and interpreting data to extract insights and make informed decisions. However, there are some nuanced differences between the two. So what I found is it's making data analysis look like it's a little, it's not as in-depth as data analytics, you know. So often associated with examining historical data to understand past performance and trends. It may involve summarizing data for reporting purposes, you know, but for data analytics, it's saying that it's often used in business context where the goal is to derive insights to support strategic decision-making, optimize processes, and drive business growth. It might involve analyzing current and historical data to make predictions about future trends, you know. So it's just like it's putting data analytics a tiny step ahead of data analysis, you know. I don't really see that difference that it's giving us, to be honest, because the essence of doing all of these is to know what I'm doing with the future, not just for me knowing history's sake. You know, I'm looking at historical data and past performances and trends so that I can make a decision about what I want to do with the future, where I want my business to be in the future. You know, that's normally what any data analytics task or project would be about, you know. So, but that's just my take. So I'm just going with what ChatGPT said here, but it's just me. I don't necessarily agree with it. It further went on to say that data analysis can be performed using tools like Excel, basic statistical software, scripting languages like R or Python. But here, data analytics uses more advanced tools and technologies such as specialized analytics software, machine learning libraries, and big data platforms. Okay, so that's the difference it says around there. And then, so if we were to go by these two differences here, what we are currently doing is data analysis. That's what it's saying, because we're not really using big data platforms. You know, we're not doing machine learning and all of that. More of data science is what this is talking about. And then, well, what have I got here? I think this is this a repeat? Using tools like, yeah, often implies a more specialized and focused approach. It typically involves applying more advanced techniques to analyze data with the goal of uncovering actionable insight, predicting outcomes, and making data-driven decisions. So there's a very, very thin line between the two, if at all there is a line. You know, I'm thinking there isn't, but if there is actually a line, it's really very thin. So we can use them interchangeably. So, and this was the summary that it gave about around the two. You know, the distinction can vary based on industry, context, and the specific tasks being performed. Okay. I hope that sort of erases a bit of the question that we have around that. Mr. Muiwa, hope that helps a little bit.
Yes, it does, David. I think data analytics, even though it includes data analysis, is forward-looking. So when we say data analytics, I think the essence, the substance of that is it's forward looking.
Yeah.
Even though it picks from information from the past, but it's to help us achieve what we want to do, which is forward.
Yeah.
Analysis, I think, just looks at present and past, probably to explain why we are where we are, or what has brought us to the point where we are.
Yeah.
But like you rightly said, they are inextricably linked, to be honest.
Yeah,
yes.
True.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. Right, and I think we started with job descriptions yesterday. And it's not limited to what I've got here, but on job descriptions, we'll find, stuff around, should be able to define the problem and create an action plan or communicate the plan that we've got for solving that problem to the team. Collecting data from different sources is always part of what they want us to be able to do. Cleaning data, very key. Validating our data for high quality. Standardizing data, which involves the fields, the text fields, the number fields. That talks about our data types and using them in the right context as well. Context being sometimes some numbers are not really numbers, especially IDs, So how do you want to present it such that it's not summing up? Because IDs should not be, they are distinct. They shouldn't be summing up or averaging, like your everyday numbers, okay? So that's what that is about. More job descriptions here, how we can create views. Views are mostly, it's mostly a SQL language, how we format our data for a purpose. Because when the purpose varies, you might be formatting the same type of data differently, because the purpose changed how we filter our data to subsets that we need, and how we automate our reports, not just in SQL, in any of the, even in Excel, I'm currently working on just creating some KPIs for payroll, and it's an automated process because I did it in Excel, but I got the data source from SharePoint. So I brought it in through using Get Data SharePoint, such that every step that I've done, I've put in place. As more data gets in, there's no need to repeat those steps. We just need to refresh, and we get the new data in our report as the months roll by. So that saves time. It's a part of working efficiently as well. How we connect data to.
Just a quick question, Sister David. How did you automate it? Did you use macros or what did you use?
With Power Query in Excel and in Power BI, as long as your data source is still connected to the Power Query, any change in the data is automatically messaged or communicated into your report. As you just need to click refresh and it picks it up. So it's automation done automatically, so to say, when it comes to how Power Query works, that's why it's a powerful tool, and it had to be introduced into Excel as well, because it used to just be in Power BI, but Excel's got it now as well. So I just went onto that Get Data. Let me see if I can quickly show that. We can still see this. Okay, let me open blank. Okay, so and then let me hide this. So these are data here. We just get data, and you can get data from any source, you know. In my case, I got it using this. I got it from SharePoint folder. And I've got the URL, the address for my SharePoint folders anyway. I just put that in, okay that, and it just brings everything in. So the hard work is every step I have to do on it for the first time. After that, I just need to come here and always refresh, and the new data that has, because the way I did it, I scheduled the data to always drop every day, to always drop a new data into the this SharePoint folder. So as long as this source is not changed, this Excel would always get it. It would always get the new data coming in. That's how that works.
Thank you very much. That's very useful to know.
You're
so you
welcome.
don't have to write like a macro or something.
No, you don't. Because you see, remember that in our Power Query, all the steps that we have done are more like macros. Remember that we brought this in through Power Query, our current work that we are doing, you know. So if I hide this again and we go back into the query, yeah, where's the query in connection? I want to enter queries in connection, table design, not table design, data. Yeah, queries in connection. Remember that we just right clicking to edit. Okay, so we got this, I don't want this to delay us. We got this by clicking get data, and we came into our Power Query, right? So every step that we worked on in, was it other details? The steps that are recorded here, basically. Every step that's recorded on this side that you have performed on your work, we didn't do much in this Power Query. But all of those steps are the macros, okay? And how you see how this has written it, how Power Query has written it, is if we go into advanced editor, this one, you see, all of the steps, no matter how many steps there are recorded here. So it's writing a set of code, which you are just performing the work, but it's writing the code for you, you know, inside your advanced editor. Unlike you having to know how to do, is it VBA they call it? Back in the day, I didn't bother to learn all of that in Excel, because now we have Power Query. What's the point? Power Query does it for you. But it's good to know it, VBA, for those who had to learn it, you know, where you have to be doing the sort of coding it by yourself. It's not been necessary for me to really go into, you know, trying to learn VBA in Excel at all. But that's because I leverage on using Power Query to get the job done, so to say.
Thank you so much, Mr. David. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. So I hope we can still see this.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So yeah, in SQL, there's something they call stored procedure that you use to do your automation. I'm still sort of wrapping my head around that, because I learned it, but I've never needed to use it. So I'm very sure I'll need to relearn it if I have to do it again, you know. And then our visuals, how we do our visuals, it's really important to know what charts should be used for what type of reports. Each chart has got its own use, you know. So just and data storytelling, how we are not just gonna dump all of those charts on our Canva. It's got to all be arranged in such a way that you are telling a story with it, you know. So how we got from this point where we've got all these rows and columns, to something like this that tells us a story about the employees that work within this Northwind company, you know, their age, how much they made when they made it, you know, the profits that they brought in, you know, or how this story here was crafted, looking at the KPIs of there, you know, and then total orders and sales by year, you know, and by country as well, because I see countries down there, you know, and the gross profit by each contact's name, you know, average sales that was made, and so on and so forth, you know. So it's it takes some degree of planning. Sometimes it's good to envisage how you want your results to be. Sometimes some people would already have their report or dashboard drawn out the way they want it to be, such that when they get to that point, they just could easily, you know, tell their story. So they pre-plan it and then come back to the beginning, do the work, and then get to that final stage. And then we've got something we call single entity data set, introduction to single data set. And single data set is just something that we have seen before. When you've got data that, example, I think this is one of our data. If I delete this or hide it, okay. So what if you've got a data set that's got just one table and that's all it is? That is a single entity data set, okay? Because it's just got that single entity means table. It's just got that single table, okay? And of course, there are times that that's what you will be getting to work with as well. So, and then we've got the multi-entity data set. That an example of that is this data of ours, this data set, where you've got customers table, employees table, different tables, you know, more than one table, basically. These are the multi-entity data sets. So that's just the difference between those two. I'm aware that time is fast spent. I'm just gonna see very quickly. Okay, I did screenshot this here, so just to show us what that looks like. And then some Excel formula, of course, that I think we've started to use a few of them. But yeah, I believe we'll have the chance to use more of this just to build more muscle in working with formulas in Excel. We've been using pivot table. We've done split to column, I believe. We've done geography. We haven't done if statement yet. It's very important. We're going to do it. We'll look for an avenue that will help us to do it. You know, profit margin, all of this will do with our current data that we're working with. Yeah, I've already talked about multiple entity data sets with more than one table in it, basically. We've been talking about lookup tables, facts tables, what they are, keys, the foreign keys and the primary keys. We've mentioned those already in our previous tables. What are attributes? These are things terms I want us to find out what it is. Attributes, entity or table, we know what that is already, but what are attributes? What are records? You know, transformation, we already been using that. Aggregation, we've already been using. We've done a lot of VLOOKUP. Concatenate, we did once, you know. If statement and nested if, we will need to revisit to do at some point. And maybe by tomorrow, we'll start looking at what market sizing questions are about and how we can answer them. They are normally interview questions. I've never been asked questions like this before, but I've heard that it's possible to get market sizing questions. So we can kickstart, God willing, the class tomorrow with this part. Do we have